TV23 KDGL. Covering the High Plains with news, weather, and information. From TV23 Studios in Sublette, this is High Plains Today.
Hi, everybody. You know what? It is Thursday, July 14th, 2016. Wow, we're almost halfway through July. Welcome to High Plains Today, right here on TV23. On today's show, my good friend Dr. Jack Jacob will be here, and we'll be talking about some stuff. In the meantime, let's take a look at what's happening out there. Well, authorities still have no identification for the body found last Wednesday hanging from a tree in Seward County, and the local coroner said none will likely be found without a tip from the public. Dr. Hubert Peterson, who performed the autopsy on the body, said the person, a male, appears to have died from hanging and asphyxiation, and he has thus ruled the death a suicide at this time. Peterson said when a body such as this is decomposed, medical examiners look for problems like gunshot and stab wounds and broken bones that would indicate trauma. Now, Seward County Sheriff Bill McBride said the sheriff's office and the Kansas Bureau of Investigation is investigating the case. And due to a drop in oil and gas value, more than $80 million less than a year ago, Finney County is looking at possible $8 million increase in order to fund the 2017 budget. Now, during a Monday morning review of the proposed budget by the Finney County Commission, the commission heard the total valuation had dropped to $428 million. The biggest changes in the county's total value this year came in real estate and oil and gas. Now, while real estate values rose nearly $63 million, it could not offset a drastic drop in the county's oil and gas value, which fell from $105 million last year to an estimated $23 million now. The overall impact is about a $40 million drop in total value. And while we're on that subject, next year's Holcomb USD 363 budget will remain roughly the same, but due to a drop in valuation, the district mill levy will go up slightly. Now, the annual district valuation this year dropped by $23 million from $133 million to $110 million. The district's proposed general fund budget is the same as last year's, just over $5.5 million from the state block grant. But due to the drop in valuation, the district will have to increase the mill levy slightly to generate the same amount of tax dollars. The overall proposed levy is 44.287 mills, an increase of 1/2 mil. And a small band of Kansas officials hastily enacted a rule Tuesday to allow more than 17,000 people who haven't provided proof of citizenship to vote in federal races. The regulation affects individuals who registered to vote at Department of Motor Vehicle offices and comes in response to a federal court order. The rule was adopted at the last minute, the day before advance voting for the August primary is set to begin. Now, the State Rules and Regulations Board approved the regulation during a tense meeting in a cramped conference room where lawmakers expressed hesitance and frustration, and an attorney assailed the process as a circus. The 8 a.m. meeting was announced late Monday afternoon, and Governor Sam Brownback says he has the right to wait longer than 90 days to fill a vacant district magistrate position. Now, a written response filed Monday in the Kansas Supreme Court on Brownback's behalf says the precise timing of the appointment is left to the governor's constitutionally provided executive power. 326 district judges filed a petition last month after Brownback announced he would wait until after the August primaries to consider filling the vacancy. Now, the opening was created when Judge Tommy Webb, right here in Haskell County, announced his retirement back in February. The petition seeks to force Brownback to fill the position until saying Kansas law requires 5 magistrate judges to serve the 6-county district. And don't forget, next week, now you can still enter to win our Yeti 30-ounce tumblers. You know what? You can send us an email. How easy is that? Just email us, cup@kdgltv.com, or you can send us a postcard, TV23 KDGL, P.O. Box 447, Sublette America 67877. Now, in both those ways, do not forget to give us your name and address, because that way we can send the cup to you after we announce you as a winner. And this week's winner is Cassie Eid from Liberal. I hope I didn't butcher your last name too bad, Cassie. But Cassie Ide of Liberal. We'll be sending that cup off to her. Now, remember, email us, cup@kdgltv, or send us a postcard. All you got to do, it's very, very simple, and these are very, very cool. Back with your forecast. No rain today, but maybe tomorrow after this.
You're watching High Plains Today on TV 23 with host Chris Jewell. TV 23's internet service and 4G live streaming provided by United Wireless. Coverage you deserve. Service you expect. United Wireless.
Lead paint poisoning affects 1 million children today. If you're pregnant or have young children and your home was built before 1978, you could be at risk. Learn how to protect your family. To find your home's danger zones, the health effects, or just to find help, log on to leadfreekids.org.
Now, the local weather forecast for the High Plains.
Right now, lots of sunshine here at the TV 23 studios. As you can see on the tower cam, there's some big clouds of some storms that rolled through here earlier today left over. Let's take a look at our readings here at the station. Lots of sunshine, 76 degrees, 68%. The relative humidity is kind of high. Winds are out of the southeast at 10. They're blowing a lot harder than that in some places right now, and the barometric pressure holding steady. As we look at the current temps around the region, now here's something we haven't seen in a few days. Everybody in the 70s except you get clear out here to the western part, and they're in the low 80s. We have not seen 70s at this time of day for a few days now. And you can see the current dew points, though. That's why our humidity is so high. Everybody's pretty close to the temperatures. And as we look at the wind speeds, now you can look down here to the south, looking around Liberal, 29 already. You get out to Elkhart and Guyman, they're 23 and 24. Not the winds there. Now there is a front that's sliding through. There's a front that's come in and is bringing all this cooler weather in, which is kind of nice, but it's bringing these winds with them, and you can see it hasn't really moved in to the eastern part of the viewing area because their winds are not that high yet. Looking at our highs and lows as recorded at the Garden City Municipal Airport, Regional Airport, 95 yesterday, 109 back in 1971, 64 our overnight low yesterday, 46, wow, back in 1990. No new measurable precipitation overnight, but that could change because Garden City and Dodge got a little bit of rain this morning. All right, looking at our forecast for today, only 84 for the high. Winds are going to be out of the east at 15. Then tonight, partly cloudy, 64 for our low. East winds, 16. And then tomorrow, this will be later in the day, 86 degrees for our high, 30% chance of precipitation. Winds are going to be out of the southeast at 14. And then overnight, this will take place up until about 4 a.m. On Saturday morning, there is a 50% chance of precipitation, 65 for the overnight low. Winds will be out of the southeast at 13. Then, as we look at our 7-day, you can see that chance of rain rolling in here tomorrow. Back into the sunshine on Saturday as that low kind of moves on over to the east. Takes the storms and the cool air with it, because when it comes back up, it's going to be heating up. You can see that looking at 100 on Sunday, going to be in the upper 90s starting next week. Wow. That's a look at our weather. We'll be back with the markets and Dr. Jack after this.
Life's a little different here in Southwest Kansas. We do things our own way with a can-do spirit and strong family values, which means we treat people right, and we want the best value for our dollar. The same is true about United Wireless. We aren't like the national brands. We treat our customers like family. We provide excellent service and simple, easy-to-understand plans that will save you money. We are United Wireless, and we are Southwest Kansas proud.
Lead paint poisoning affects 1 million children today. If you're pregnant or have young children and your home was built before 1978, you could be at risk. Learn how to protect your family. To find your home's danger zones, the health effects, or just to find help, log on to leadfreekids.org.
As the owner of a business, I'm responsible for all these kids. No, I can't make sure they get all the fruits and veggies they need, or that they have good table manners, or that they use their inside voices, but I can make sure they get the support they need by reporting all my new hires to the state of Kansas.
When you report new hires, you make sure non-custodial parents pay their child support so kids get what they need to succeed in life.
Join me in doing one simple thing to help kids.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who do something, the people who take action, are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 110 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 600% increase in the last 20 years. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back. I'm now joined on set by my good friend, Dr. Jack Jacob. Hello, my friend.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good today. How about you?
I am amused and entertained.
You're always amused and entertained, though. Enlighten me. What are you going to enlighten me with today?
Well, first of all, how could you not be amused and entertained? We have entered officially into the Twilight Zone, which we enter into every year, every time there's an election.
Every 4 years.
Where we go from, we have this group of people all running against each other that basically say, if you vote for the other one, you just launched the nuclear missile that ended the United States. Now we're to the point that we've narrowed it down to one candidate, and the others are hoping maybe to get a vice presidential thing or some kind of appointment thing, that now it's like, you know, if you don't vote for this person, you just pushed the button on the nuclear missile that ended the United States.
So are you maybe bringing up the point that Bernie Sanders yesterday or the day before appeared on stage with Hillary and went, you know what, 2 months ago he's going, do not vote for this candidate. And yesterday it was, you must vote for this candidate. That type of deal?
Yeah, but it's not just there. I mean,
Well,
we saw it weeks ago on the Republican side. And now we're looking at like some of the potential vice presidential nominees for Trump include like Chris Christie, who at one time was thinking about the presidency, and Mike Pence from Indiana, who again, we don't know much about, but we know in the beginning stages is like, Trump, I don't know. So,
well, yeah, and then yesterday they had pictures of what? The Trumps and the Pences all coming out of the Indiana governor's mansion, all buddy-buddy, because the night before he'd had a rally in Indiana. So
and they'd had a meeting to talk about the potential vice presidency. And
that didn't happen, did it?
I just think it's interesting. and the reason I think it's interesting is I think there is a political lesson that if we could learn philosophically and apply it socially, could actually strengthen America from those examples.
How so?
Well, here's what happens.
Okay.
Whenever we have competing interests, so for instance, let's just take Bernie and Hillary. When they have competing interests, it's me against you. But now that we've narrowed it down to one candidate, Hillary, and Bernie's doesn't have a chance of winning the nomination anymore, now we look at not what differs between us, but what unites us. So it becomes the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. So if we could learn that lesson and begin to apply that lesson as Americans and stop looking at, you're bald, I have a little bit of hair, so I'm going to stand against all the bald people, you stand against all the people with hair. If we could instead learn to say, we are Americans. And so because we are Americans, we need to stand together and look at what makes a great nation, benefits both of us.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you talk about Hillary and Bernie. Now that went from me versus you to we versus them.
Right.
And we have a lot of that going around now in today's political climate. And it's just not in politics, right?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, you're talking about Black Lives Matter or This Lives Matter or this group or that group. I mean, everybody all of a sudden, and even political candidates, you would think, somewhat seem to think they're entitled.
And it's because we created this idea of, you look back in history. You saw these lines of people coming to Ellis Island, signing their name to become citizens, taking their oaths, renouncing the nations they came from and taking up allegiance to the United States. And we've kind of done away with that because now you can have dual citizenship, and we've carved the country up into these small pockets. And as if it wasn't enough to say we're going to have Native Americans, Pacific Island Americans, Hispanic Americans, African Americans, all the other various splinter groups. Then even within those groups, we divide it up and say we have the haves and the have-nots. We have the advanced educated, the median educated, the lower educated, the uneducated. We have the blue collar, the white. I mean, we've created all these dividing lines.
It's like there's a class system within the class.
There is, and sometimes on multiple levels.
Yeah.
So you get what happens with that is you get the nation carved up. Instead of being carved up into 50 states, it's carved up into 300 million individuals instead of one nation.
And that's really too bad. I mean, we need to get back to this, we the people.
Right.
You know, and you've got the Republic. All of a sudden, I mean, it's like the Republicans and the Democrats now are us versus them.
Absolutely.
And it's too bad. You know, I just want to go out and start a political movement that is the American Party. Let's just get everybody who's fed up with being Republican or Democrat, and let's start an American Party and see if we can get this figured out.
But then you're going to run into the same thing. Because you see that with the libertarians, you see it with the other groups. So what happens in that is we create the situation. Now, how many times have we seen this play out? I mean, we've seen it play out on the state level. Some of our budget woes are due to I can't even say that you have a good idea because you're from a different party. I have to fight your idea because it came from your group.
And then when you're out on the campaign trail or whatever, then you have to go out and then justify why you didn't side with this good idea, but you thought this that supposedly is a good idea, but really the majority doesn't think it is. You have to defend that, or vice versa.
So instead of being able to look altruistically and say, what is good for the nation, what's good for the state, what's good for our county, what's good for the city, whatever, instead of being able to look at that, I have to look at the constituent parts of that and defend one part against another. And so I think if we learn anything from this time of year in the election cycle, as we go from me versus you to us versus them, is I wish we could somehow embrace that and get back to that idea. You know, there's a reason, I think, it's a little bit kind of punny, but there's a reason that the abbreviation for United States is US. And if we could ever embrace that as this is us. We live here, we benefit from the nation, we live under its laws, we pay its taxes, we provide its services. We are America. If we could get to that point again, I think it would heal a lot of the woes that we find ourselves battling all the time.
How do we get to that point, though? Because as soon as somebody who is well respected or whatever is going to start talking about that type of thing, then they're going to be lambasted for being racist or biased or something, bigoted.
And probably as people watch this, you're going to be getting comments on Facebook and other places to that. I think the problem is that we've, as you mentioned earlier, we've created this entitlement mentality that says everyone ought to take care of me and everybody else ought to pay for it. And so what we've done is we've created a system now that disincentivizes working together. Because if I have to give up my individual carved out identity, then I don't qualify for some of the programs that I benefit from by having that identity. So it's not an easy thing, and I'm not a gloom and doom guy, but I'm not so sure if we're past the tipping point.
You think? So how do we get back from the tipping point? Quick, in 30 seconds.
The only way,
lay out a giant plan.
The only way I really know is if people will humble themselves and put others' needs ahead of their own, and not do it just so that they can get payback.
It's going to be hard. That's going to be hard pressed to get across to a lot of people.
It is.
I don't know where you start.
I think it starts by one person making one decision at a time and saying, I'm not going to fill my heart up with myself. I'm going to fill it up with someone else.
That's a good idea. We'll see if we can work on that.
There you go.
Thanks for coming by today.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, now I got something to think about the rest of the day. Thanks
Yes,
for
you
that.
do.
Thanks, Jack. Stick around. I'll be back with more after this. Hi, Chris Jewell, host of High Plains Today, a 30-minute news and information program that airs weekdays at noon right here on TV 23. We talk about news, we talk about sports, we talk about weather, we're even going to talk entertainment. We'll have live guests right here on set with me. So, every day at noon, tune in, High Plains Today. We'll see you then.
Weekdays here on TV 23.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on a sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
Something I feel when I'm right here. Something that tells me that I'm This is the place. Everybody here knows it. This is the place. Oh, it's home to me and you. Yeah, this is the place.
Hey, Tom Brady is down to his last chance, and it's not a very good one. If the New England Patriots quarterback is to avoid a 4-game suspension in the scandal known as Deflategate, he will have to convince the U.S. Supreme Court to take his case. Only about 1% of appeals submitted to the nation's highest court are accepted, and they tend to be about grand constitutional issues. And the Baseball All-Star Game has drawn a record low television rating for the second straight year. The American League's 4-2 victory over the National League in San Diego on Tuesday night got a 5.4 rating on Fox. Now, the previous low was 6.6 last year for the game in Cincinnati. Fox said, though, yesterday that the game drew a 10 share and 8.7 million viewers. Okay, let's take a look at our weather before we get out of here. 76 degrees, relative humidity 66%. Wind is out of the southeast.
With the latest information
See ya.
from TV 23 on our Facebook page, KDGL TV.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Something I feel when I'm right